So this is my simple Afghanistan map I've designed to kind of be a dynamic simulator of an insurgency in Afghanistan. And today what I am doing is I'm going to do a basic sort of simple mock-up test mission I've made within it to just kind of get a feel for how the dynamic spawning works, how the combat unfolds, and if the challenges and obstacles are, too high, too low, and so on, just to really suss out how a little playtime in this map looks and if it's on the right track or what needs to be fixed. So we're starting out here today at this outpost, and we will be traversing across the northern aspect of the map. We will be basically patrolling along here to the Pushton. Ignore that, that's just him noticing an ally. I should turn the radio voices off in a second. I'm going to do that in a second. Yeah, so we will be basically moving along A, B to Pushton, and then across over to the target area, which is a compound which we will be raiding. I have with me 2 AI. I'm going to have to turn those radio shouts off real quick, just because that is really fucking annoying when they shout out like that. I can't actually fucking remember where they've buried that particular option under. I may actually just have to fucking live with it. Oh well, life goes on. So I'm gonna have them basically occupy simple file formation. The 2 things I will need for this map, ignore that error, that's just something to do with a mod that needs fixing, it won't pop up again, is I need a toolkit in case I want to disarm IEDs. And the other main thing I need is some basic medical gear in case I get injured or wounded, or in case one of my AI does. I probably won't save my AI because I don't really care about them that much. But in general, it's good to have a decent amount of first aid supplies, especially if you don't think you're going to be coming back anytime soon. So as you can see, we're about to depart across this bridge. I suspect it's probably going to be pretty quiet and uneventful till we reach around this area here. Because, well, you'll see. But like I said, I don't think there's going to be a lot of activity in the other areas. I like this map because I think it's about 25 square kilometers, so it's enough that you're not really bottled into one area. But if you try and create a dynamic spawning map on a really large map, it can be quite a performance hog. And even, when you get the respawning and despawning set up so that it's not too bad, it's a lot of scripting work in general. So I also think that this particular map really got a good combination of accurately portraying Afghanistan, to my knowledge. I haven't been there, I've just seen videos, as well as creating a map that actually is enjoyable to play. There are some maps that are just basically straight satellite data, and then you're just, it's not unrealistic, but you're really just shooting at distances of a kilometer across valleys. And it's rare that you get a lot of enjoyable gameplay out of it. So one thing I find that's more of a problem in single player, multiplayer your movement's less continuous because you're communicating, covering with each other. In single player you just kind of plod along, so you kind of get winded easier. So I like to take breathers every now and then because basically your weapon sway will be really pronounced if you're tired. Like now I'm not that tired, and that's reasonably pronounced sway. It's not so bad when you have it on just red dot sights, but it can be very pronounced with optics. So I'm not really paying as much attention as I should. I'm just kind of plodding along, talking to myself here, really. Uh, that's over for where we came from. That's not anything worth note. But basically, we're right around here. I'm pretty crappy with using GPS systems, so I usually just memorize visual landmarks. And because I've been editing this map for a little while, I now kind of visually can keep track of where I am decently. My Steam just made a blurb there. It's distracting. But yeah. I say and yeah, way too much. If I continue to record videos, I'm going to definitely have to cut that down. For now, though, that's just something that, if there's more than just the one person I'm making these videos for ever ends up watching it, they'll just have to fucking deal with it. And the one person who I make these videos for can just fucking deal with it too, because I'm not there to please them. So you can see we've just kind of rounded this bend here. I'm going to take another quick breather, check on my squad. Keep moving. I mean, one of the disadvantages to Arma is that in order to create the realistic types of scenarios with a realistic strategy, you have to tolerate a certain amount of downtime, where you're just actually sort of proceeding through the terrain. Now, what you should do, most people aren't in the habit on Arma because typically AI doesn't spawn in buildings. There's a script that will spawn AI randomized in buildings, enemy AI in particular, not just civilians. So, when you're coming up on a compound like this, you want to be a little mindful. Like, as you can see, there's no real areas to be fired from other than maybe that one crack in the wall. Nonetheless, one of the things I'd like for these maps is, in real life in Afghanistan, what the Taliban did is in compound walls like this, they drilled little small holes just big enough that you could stick the nozzle of a gun out and basically call them kill holes, murder holes, and they would, shoot at troops from there because, it's kind of a cheap potshot thing. So one thing I'm going to do, and unfortunately my AI is not very useful for doing this type of thing, is I'm going to attempt to just clear this compound to ensure that it is, this is probably this compound right here, that ensure that it is safe. Looks like it is. This particular type of building, unfortunately, is not enterable, but that then allows me to discern that it's probably going to be clear here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my squad down there. Oh, I actually can't climb up this ladder. I was going to climb up that ladder and get eyes on the area, but unfortunately, that particular building is not a proper full 3D model. One of the disadvantages to the Afghanistan maps is some of them do borrow buildings from older iterations of Arma where the buildings weren't enterable. The vast majority of buildings on this map are enterable. That's a bad example, but nonetheless, there are a handful here and there that aren't, and that's still unfortunate. As you can see, I'm getting pretty tired here. If you look under where it says G Fresco, if you see that small bar, when that bar gets longer and redder, that basically means that I'm more tired, whereas when it's short and green, I'm more energetic. It only takes a couple of seconds to kind of reset itself. A lot of people don't like it. I like it because it adds pacing. It basically means if you are doing, like a 400-meter jog and then you immediately drop down into combat, yeah, your aim is going to be off. You're going to end up, wasting ammo. Whereas if you've been lying still in wait and, semi-tired opponents come by, you have a significant advantage on them. So lots of people on forums and stuff I've noticed will complain, but I think it's a good addition. So you can see here we're entering some agricultural areas, and these areas are actually pretty fucking dangerous because, well, like, look at my fucking visibility. Like, how deep do you think you need to be in this field before I can't see you? Not that deep. Likewise, this tree line here, I'm going to move to the other side of it because I think that we're actually probably in a better position moving kind of against this open field in this squared off area. But even so, like, you know, if you think about it, I could have 4 guys laying down in ambush pretty much 30 meters in front of me. I wouldn't notice them. Typically, Arma AI doesn't do that. There are actually ways to set up pretty clever ambushes. I haven't scripted any into this mission yet because it takes a bit of work to have them really dynamically generated. It's pretty easy just to set them in one spot. So again, you know, we take a breather, take a moment, take a survey of the situation. As you can see, there's compounds up there. So one thing I always want to be mindful of is compounds. Compounds mean buildings, and buildings always mean there's potential that there's 2 guys holed up in a building waiting to take some shots at you. Somehow, my AI, you can see it's not very good because they've really lagged behind me. They don't hop over the small walls entirely, so now they're running to catch up. That's not really that ideal. But whatever, what can you do? I'm going to try and keep moving because I don't know when I'm basically going to run out of video memory and this is going to just automatically cut off. So I want to get kind of, you know, maybe some action in the video first, but I don't want to behave particularly stupid either. So let's take a scan with the Binas, the rangefinders, at these compounds. The thing about compounds, though, is you can't see over these huge walls. And this is pretty accurate from what I've seen to Afghanistan. Is that Afghanistan has some pretty high-walled compounds that you just do not see over, and they complicate the fighting. I'm not really going to babysit my AI. It's not worth it to me. It's not interesting enough. I'd rather just let them catch up. I basically keep an AI squad less for support and more so if I die, maybe there's something I can respawn on. Because they really fucking kind of let me down here. So far, this area is, you know, pretty low population, so we haven't had any contacts. I'm going to start by investigating this next set of compounds. To reference where we are on the map, I believe we're right about here. This is the compound set I'm approaching. As we get closer to Pushtin, we're likely going to take contact. And get engaged. But really, and I mean I scripted this so I know, we could be engaged anywhere around here, even though it seems quiet and boring. I'm not pretending like, oh, there's danger. There could be. There really could be. So you can see most of these buildings are enterable, so I don't have anyone to actually really help clear buildings, so I have to do kind of this more risky shit. It's not so ideal, but you can kind of get a good sense that that's clear. That's just kind of like a manger. So that's one house separated with its own compound walls. So then there's another, I believe I'm looking, let's see, actually, what direction would I be looking if I'm looking? I believe that's, I can tell that's southwest. Yeah, I thought so. So if I'm not mistaken, that's this road up here, which is going to come up on this intersection. My guys are catching up here. We're having on our fire. If there were enemies reasonably close, I would assume that even if they were fucking as soon as I speak. So I'll tell my squad to get down. So by front, I'm going to assume I'm referencing my front here. I'm going to assume we're probably talking about someone in the... Oh, whoa. that right there. See, that's him right there, and he's facing away from us, so he hasn't seen us. So, really, I guess I should just take the shot and see what happens. That was kind of embarrassing that I missed on that first shot. Basically now, we find out if that was just one of a few stragglers or not. So I didn't really want to deviate heavily south. But I should see if these compounds here are clear. Yeah, so they're definitely in the compound here. Not necessarily sure which one, but oh, yeah. So there he is. There he was. Came under fire there. That's most likely not a full element, because I feel like they would have engaged us in a more organized manner. That's likely just a group that have been laying low inside of buildings. Especially because I'm not seeing anything here. I'm really not moving in a very intelligent manner. If you haven't told, like, I'm not really making good use of cover. And right now, me and my guys are rather grouped up, so because all it takes is one MG burst, and you can drop 4 guys like that easily. However, we need to be going to the northwest. We're going to cut across some fields here because we want to reach Pushtin, the town of Pushtin. That's kind of our goal right now. I'm going to cut across these fields. In some ways, it's better to cut across fields because you don't run the risk of IEDs. You don't run the risk of car bombers is likely, or if you see a car beelining across the field, well, one of the disadvantages is the civilian AI is pretty stupid, so that actually isn't a guarantee it's a suicide bomber. But the more you see, abnormal car behavior, the more you can likely guess that it is. So here we're coming up on another compound. So if I'm not mistaken, we've made a beeline basically like this. We should be coming up across around these things here. But it's actually, especially in the inner green zone, it's really easy to get disoriented. The compass at the bottom of my screen gives me direction orientation, obviously, and I have my compass right here. So I know I'm going west right now, so I should probably readjust and get north back up onto a road. But other than that, so that's the telltale sign of being under fire. So 200 meters. The left is really useless because I don't really know what direction he's oriented in. I think that's to the west, judging from the sounds. So I don't really have a very clear line of sight in that direction. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw a tracer, which would indicate that they're beyond in that direction to an extent. Okay. I should not have exposed myself like that. So they're returning fire. Yeah, he's returning fire. He's clearly got eyes. They're clearly in this direction. Is that smoke up over there? That could indicate. I already took a casualty like that. So that could indicate some sort of explosion. I guess probably the best thing to do at this point would be to go over to those compounds and take cover there, because at this point we're in pretty shitty cover.